Hey, how's it going, guys? This is the Smack Raw Podcast NXT episode. Today we're going to be recapping the February 19th edition of the show. Stay tuned. We're coming to you in just a second.
What's up, y'all? It's Jay Thunder.
And AJ Radix.
And we are the PWX AWA Tag Team Champions, Extreme Thunder. And you're listening to the Smack Raw Podcast, baby.
And we are back, guys. How's it going? Welcome to the Smack Raw Podcast. I am your host, SES Vince. I am joined by one half of the Mean Jellybean Productions YouTube channel, Mr. Aaron Real Petty. What is up, my man?
What's good, bro? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Could have done a little bit better with that intro, man. I swear, dude, it's like once it gets to second nature with me, trust me, it'll be way better. But I'm keeping my notes here, just making sure I get the right plugs out there. Like I did say, he is part of the Mean Jellybean YouTube channel. Very funny shit over there. Go and check it out. Don't miss out on that content. And don't miss out on ours as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and comment down below what you thought of tonight's episode of NXT. And let's just go right into it, man. I mean, let's not waste too much time on the plugs. Overall, what you thought of the show?
I'd say it was solid B minus. I mean, especially going up against what AEW had tonight. Like, I don't want to say they dropped the ball, but I feel like they were finally doing what I think they should do and not care about what AEW's doing and just do their show.
Right. No, yeah, and it does feel like sometimes you watch an episode of NXT and they just do stuff just for like shock value or just get a cheap pop or whatnot, and you can't really run your show like that. You have to focus on yourself, and it usually like the NXT after a takeover usually has this stigma about it that it's just a recap show, but ever since it moved to the USA Network, it hasn't become that. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people thinking, oh, it's just going to be another recap show. Not too many people know that, and even one of our hosts, Kyle, he was assuming that it was going to be another recap show as well. So AEW probably just loaded it up. I haven't watched AEW. From what I'm hearing, it was a pretty good show. I'm a big Jeff Cobb guy, so I'm gonna check it out for him. I'm a big Lucha Bros guy, so I'm gonna make sure and watch that tag match. But yeah, overall though, I agree with you. It was a solid show. It was a steady show, moving along storylines. The big plot of tonight's episode was going to be the return of Velveteen Dream, and we're going to have the grudge match, which is like 3-5 months in the making between Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream. We'll talk about the match when we get to it, but Undisputed Era actually opened up the show. Roddy's super hot. He's very mad. And what was your take on this whole segment, especially once Velveteen got involved?
Me personally, I feel it was unnecessary. I think they should have just held this off until maybe later on in the night or maybe backstage or something. Like, this should have been, to me, like the opportunity. If you're gonna have Adam Cole out there and talking about last night, it should have been. That's what it should have been focused on to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The one thing I will give it props for, I mean, it didn't feel like it really advanced or move anything forward other than just Velveteen Dream challenging Roderick Strong to keep the rest of UE in the backstage area and keep it a one-on-one match. And that was about it. That was the gist of the whole segment. But I like the presentation of it. I hope it's something that they keep with the Velveteen Dream. How it's just like a sound effect and it's just Dream, like a logo and the Titantron. And he's talking to you kind of like you don't even see his face, but you hear his voice. I love it. It's very good mind games type of stuff. And I know you were like, oh, he shouldn't be doing these kind of things because he's a baby face. That's not what baby faces do. I kind of feel like he's like, it's very Taker-esque. It's stuff that you would only see from an Undertaker or maybe even the Kane to like a lesser extent. And I really like that. I think that's very cool and unique.
That part I did like that part. That stuff I'm all right with.
Mm-hmm.
Like that mind game stuff, like that's what you're supposed to do when you're going against 4 other guys. You got to have them looking over their shoulders. You got to have them on their toes. Like that type of stuff, I'm all right for it. The stuff about the stuff with his kids and his family and shit like that. That's the
Right.
stuff I'm just like, yeah. But the mind game stuff, like the kind of Sting shit, kind
Yeah.
of like I'm digging that. Like I love Velveteen. Like I mean, I don't even know why he's still there, to be honest. Like I figured they would have moved him up a long time ago.
Well, I mean, I have a theory as to why he's still there, but we can talk about that more once we get towards the main event. But let's start off with the first match of the show. It was Leo Rush versus Jordan Devlin for the Cruiserweight title. I mean, Jordan Devlin is more of your guy. I like Leo Rush as well. Lead us through this match and what were you expecting going into the match, and did it live up to your expectations, or do you feel like they left a little bit something to be desired?
I think they left a little bit something to be desired, but that's more. I think it was more just on unfamiliarity with who Jordan Devlin was. Like I don't think they did a good enough job giving you a reason to either hate or like him, and then throwing him in there with Leo Rush, who's in my eyes like rising up the ranks. You know what I'm saying? Like people are getting more and more behind him. Throwing your cruiserweight, your champion at him without like there's not like he doesn't have any heat. He doesn't have anybody cheering for him. Like it's just like he's just there. And like I feel like that's where they dropped the ball in. But it was a solid ass match. I mean, as you can see, I told you he can go.
Oh yeah,
he can go.
I mean,
for sure. But
I will agree with you in the sense where you need to give us a reason for us to care about Jordan Devlin. You can't just assume we've been watching NXT UK because there is so much wrestling. Even if you like, it doesn't even say that like, oh, we don't like NXT UK. It's just like we say week in and week out here on the show is we don't have enough time for every single wrestling show, and that's the main thing with Jordan Devlin. He comes in, he's a heel, and we're just supposed to like boo and hate the guy. I love the guy. I think he's great. I can't wait to see more of him so I can get to see more of his character.
Like at first, like I mean, I was trying to get you to flip, but then I went back and watched those exchanges and everything and all that, and then I'm like, well, what the hell is he gonna feel? There's nothing there. Like he hasn't really talked. He came out and stared at Leo Rush, but he hasn't done anything for you to give a damn about him. So as good as he is in the ring. Mm-hmm. That's not enough at NXT. You have to give the people in that crowd and at home something to latch on to. And as of right now, like I love him. Like you say, he's definitely my guy. He's probably my favorite guy from NXT UK if you don't count Pete Dunne. But
I think Pete Dunne is like NXT now. I mean, my favorite NXT UK is Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we're on the same boat with that. Like Jordan Devlin is a great wrestler. Like that finishing sequence was phenomenal. Yeah. I loved the headbutt. He kept wrist control, and then he like pulled them up for that Devlin side slam. I freaking love it. It's like Okada. Like when in New Japan, he hits you with the Rainmaker, keeps wrist control, and hits you with a second one. I love it. I think that's perfect. It makes total sense.
Looks different when you're going against somebody more around his size and not a bigger dude. I told you that move looks a lot better. Mm-hmm. Somebody that he can actually like pull off the floor and get up.
Right.
Like, I love that shit.
Well, so that raises the question. I mean, it looks better when he's hitting on someone his size or smaller than him. Yes, like the wrestling business right now is like getting smaller, and like the bodies aren't just like giant men anymore. But do you think he might need like a secondary finisher that he hits like on a bigger guy like a Keith Lee or a Dijakovic should he go in that direction?
I'm glad you brought that up because like before when I first started watching him, I did think like, how's he going to do this? But then there's a guy named Dave Mastodon in UK. He's probably about Keith Lee size, but he's only like 5'8", 5'7".
Right.
But he's 300 something pounds. And Devlin did his finisher to him a few times.
Okay.
So he surprised me. Like, and it kind of looks better with the super bigger guys because like when he gets them up and they come down, it just looks like he's destroying them because they're so damn big. But he can do it to pretty much anybody. But I had that same thought when I first started watching. I'm like, he's only gonna be able to do this to like a quarter of the roster. What about when he goes along to the other dudes? Who the hell is he gonna do this to? But he can get it off.
Okay, I mean, I can't wait to see it, man. You kind of sold me on it. I kind of now want to see him in a situation where he's facing. You know what? Put him in the ring with Killian Dane. Let's see how he do.
Yeah, and dude's built pretty much like Killian Dane, but way wider and probably about 50, 60 pounds heavier, to be honest.
Okay. So overall, this was a pretty good match, though. Like, the styles kind of like meshed a little bit good. Like, honestly, you put any cruiserweight in there. Like, right now, the cruiserweights are like one of the best guys in NXT right now, and across all three brands, UK and O5. But I want to ask you this. I have two questions based off of this match. Obviously, we saw Devlin win and retain the title. I didn't think Leo Rush was going to get the title like this soon. You know, they weren't going to pull an Angel Garza and just take the title off of Devlin right away. I think the situation with Garza was like maybe he was going to be called up to Raw, and maybe that's why they had him drop the title. But that's just me and optimistic.
Well, no, remember we found out about Andrade. It was either that night or the next day after he dropped the title.
Oh, really?
The 30-day ban.
Okay. So it might line up. That might be the reason for it. So let me pose these two questions for you. One, who do you want to see Jordan Devlin face off next? Who would be your pick to be like, okay, this is the next feud or the next guy you want to see him face for the Cruiserweight title?
I was thinking about that, and I can't really think of anybody that's, technically Cruiserweight, because 90% of the damn roster is Cruiserweights or Super Heavyweights. There's no, in between.
Right.
So it's I was thinking about that. I was thinking maybe Dunn or even Matt Riddle or one of them, but, they're locked into that. So it's
right.
I was thinking about that when they're doing this match. Like, well, who the hell is he gonna fight now?
One easy answer. You could always throw a Swerve, Tyler Breeze, maybe even a Tyler Bate in there in the equation. And those were just names I was listing off. But as I was listing off, the one name that stood out to me and I really want to see, and I've been hoping he gets the title, Kushida. That's who I want.
I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah. I think that would be a fire-ass match.
Oh man, it's so good. It could be a takeover worthy match. You know, you could put it can even maybe happen at the next takeover UK, which is in Dublin, Ireland. Which obviously Devlin is Irish, so he can defend the title there. You can bring over Kushida over there or Tyler Bate and have a match over there. So I can see him having big matches there. So I guess the one great thing about Jordan Devlin is the fact that he can defend the title across all three brands, across UK, NXT, and 205 Live. So that's a great thing for him. So if he's coming over to 205 Live and he's coming over to NXT and NXT UK, then I think he's the perfect guy to hold that title at this moment.
Yeah, I think they're holding Tyler Bate back for an NXT run. That's what I think. Why he's been kind of not doing much, because they haven't even really been wrestling much as Mustache Mountain either. So I think they're gearing him up to be that next wave of men, because they really haven't brought too many over from there. So I think he's going to be on that next wave. And I think they got big plans for him in NXT proper, not just NXT UK.
Right. Yeah.
And then another thing I was thinking, Morrow brought it up kind of during the match. This dude was trained by Finn Balor. He almost looks like Finn Balor. His moveset is damn near similar. I'm like, I wouldn't mind if they found some way to throw them together, even if it was just like a mentor, or even if it was just just them two together. Like, they don't have to necessarily be a tag. If you throw him with Finn, he's automatically going to get that Finn rub. Right. He gets the heat that he doesn't have now because no one knows him or gives a shit about him as of right now. Mm-hmm. But if you play that relationship, he's known the guy since he was 12 years old, and he trained him. So you have something built in right there. Just use it.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, I wouldn't be opposed to, Finn Balor just making his own club again down in NXT and having Devlin be like the Sammy Guevara to his Jericho. You could do something like that. You can have like a muscle. Hey, maybe Killian Dane. He could be the muscle guy, like the Jack Hager over in AEW, and you put in a nice little tag team. Maybe grizzled young vets. Yeah. Maybe we can have a nice little UK faction right there in NXT, and I would love to see that, man.
I've been waiting on him. They already brought him back with the Prince Devitt shit. I've been waiting on, are they ever going to pull the trigger? They was calling him the Balor Club and doing that Balor Club shit. It was him by himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Give this man, it's his brainchild. He created it all. It wouldn't be no Bucks, Kenny, none of this shit without Finn Balor. Let him do it. He can do it.
Exactly. So, I think we'll find out what happens with Finn Balor, and that's just us fantasy booking right now. But one final question before we move on. Obviously, we have an idea of what we'd like to see Devlin do, but where does this leave Leo Rush? What's next for him? Does he just flounder a little bit in NXT? Does he go to 205 Live for a bit and does some whatever storyline over there? What's next for Leo Rush? now that he's not champion.
I think that now that you know that he can be a mouthpiece, why not have him bounce all around and maybe have his own stable or maybe have his own group of people that he talks for? Like put him with like with Lashley. Like Lashley has not been shit since they broke him and Leo Rush up.
I got an idea for you. What if they bring him over to Raw? They pair him up with Ricochet. Ricochet turns a little bit of heel, has a little heel turn. Maybe they have a tag team, and he could be kind of like what's the guy from the Grizzled Young Vets that does all the talking? Gibson. He could be like the Gibson to Ricochet. He can do the most of the talking, and Ricochet as a heel, I feel like would fit way better than what he's doing right now.
And I mean, I don't necessarily think it would be a fit, but I think that it would be such a drastic change for him. It might be something that can finally give him that spark that he's been missing. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. The crowd is behind him, but they're behind him because of what they know he can do, not necessarily what he's doing.
Right.
So, like, I think if he took this loss at Brock, which we know he is, and the heel turn right after that, I think that might be what he needs. And like having Leo Rush or get Lashley back in there. Yeah. The three of them together, or two form a tag team, and Leo as the mouthpiece for it. Like, why not?
I mean, and not even just Raw. You can pair up Leo Rush with just anybody right now, and exactly. Hey, maybe pair him up with Swerve. Maybe you have a tag team with there. I mean, NXT does need a tag team, and you pair him up with Swerve. Yeah. There's options, man. There's options. Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, he can talk. Let him do everything. He doesn't necessarily have to wrestle on Raw or SmackDown if that's how you want to do it. Mm-hmm. But then let him wrestle on everything else. Let him go to 205 Live. Let him go to NXT. Because do they still do the 205 Live before SmackDown?
Yeah, no, I think it's after SmackDown, but they still do it. So anybody that's a cruiserweight can't show up on
down. But that's what I'm saying. It airs after SmackDown. But I think they recorded before the SmackDowns.
No, I think they still do it live after SmackDown.
Still do it live, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be even perfect because then he can go on SmackDown, be the mouthpiece for somebody on SmackDown, and then if he wants to wrestle, or you want to wrestle, you can wrestle on 205 Live right after. Like, boom, solved.
I mean, someone that could use a mouthpiece is Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
I mean, or I don't know about the fit, but maybe him and Ali.
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
Not even necessarily a mouthpiece, like you said. Them as a tag team, like I think him and Apollo Crews as a tag team would be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I still to this day, I still want to see Apollo Crews and Ricochet as a tag team because I know they're friends in real life, and I know if they both turn heel or they just like hang around each other, you obviously you can see with the New Day, like they're friends, they're vouching for each other, and that shows and translates to the TV, to the product on weekly television. And I feel like that's what Ricochet and Apollo Crews are both missing. Two guys that I think are phenomenal wrestlers that aren't given the opportunity to be themselves and are pretty much forced with certain thing. And you could say that Leo Rush is kind of forced into a role on Raw where he was forced to be just a mouthpiece and a manager for someone, where you see on NXT, this guy is one of the best wrestlers on the roster. He should have been wrestling.
But that's what I'm saying. And then that way, if you use him in that way, you can do both. You can give him the wrestling time that he needs on other shows, but then what he's best at, like, yeah, he's a great wrestler. I'm not arguing that at all, but you saw what that man can do on the mic.
Right.
I mean, he's next level. Like, he made people give a shit about Lashley. Like, he's the one to me that got Lashley to that point where you could see him in the main event picture. But once they got rid of him, whatever that dispute he had, I know he had a contract dispute, and that was part of it. Mm-hmm. But once they got rid of him, what happened to Lashley?
Right. I mean, he could be doing better. So, okay. So I think we've spent a little bit. We went a little long with the first match. It was pretty good. It was probably the best match on the entire card. I really liked it. Let's move on though. Well, we can talk more about this another time, but let's move on. We had a quick little like backstage interview between Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Basically just talking how it all came about. But the big talking point from here was Regal interrupted them saying like, oh, you guys are untouchable. Yeah, but I still make the rules around here. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it. But he let Dakota Kai know that there won't be an interference between her and Tegan Nox's next match because it will be a steel cage match. I don't know if this is a reaction to AEW because they had a cage match as well, or if
Yeah.
it's more of a, oh, you think you could do a cage match, we're gonna do one too, or if it just happens to line up and it's just coincidence. We'll never know, but it makes sense storyline wise why the next stipulation match would be a cage match, because they're trying to keep outside interference. They're trying to keep Raquel out of that match. In the first street fight, they weren't anticipating Dakota Kai getting any help, and this makes total sense. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to happen in 2 weeks time. I think it's going to be dope.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm in love with Dakota Kai now. Like, don't get me wrong, like Tegan's still my girl, but like that match, like that's what I was looking for throughout this whole thing, and like that's how I wanted them to position her. It may have still been a few months too late. Like, I think that this cage match should have been at the takeover. They should have had the street fight on one of the weekly shows or whatever put up to it. And the cage match should have been at takeover. But I mean, that is what it is. And I like that she has a heater. And old girl is huge.
Yeah, she's pretty big, dude.
I didn't realize she was that big because Dakota Kai is, I mean, she's not that small for the women's division. Like she's on the taller side too, but like she was literally like looking up to Rodriguez, whatever her name was. Like I'm here for it. Like I'm here for it for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's great that Dakota Kai has a heater now, like the Kevin Nash to her Shawn Michaels. She needs someone like that because, I love Dakota Kai, but as a heel, she does not look intimidating whatsoever. You need someone to back her up.
But that was the thing too. Like I feel like, especially with her style with the kicks and everything, like she was kicking the shit out of Tegan Knox on that thing. Like I loved it. That shit was fucking hard hitting. Like you could tell, like she was putting everything in them damn kicks. So like, she got me. She finally convinced me. I'm on board with it for sure.
For sure. I mean, next up, we'll move on. They did announce that Rhea Ripley Charlotte at WrestleMania is confirmed, but we'll go more into that later on when there's more involvement. We'll talk about more of that. Next up, we had Austin Theory. He came out. First thing I'm going to say, I'm not too invested in Austin Theory. I need to have a reason to care about the guy. I know he's a good wrestler. He's part of Evolve. I'm going to try to go to the Evolve show that's here in Chicago. That's going to have Keith Lee, Ciampa, and Mia Yim here. So
I might pop up on you. What's up?
It's I think March 15th. It's on a Sunday, dude. So
damn, that's my birthday.
Damn. I mean, hey, no better way to celebrate your birthday than to check out Keith Lee. If not, there's going to be a show in Detroit on the 14th with the same people. I'll send you the info later on, but like if you can, try to check out one of those two shows. So I'm going to try to hit up the Chicago one for sure, just because Keith Lee is going to be there and I really want to meet Keith Lee. But Austin Theory, going back to him, I'm not too sold on the guy. I had to see what's up. He was going to have a match with someone. He had a scheduled match, but before that actually happened, Ciampa came out. He was trying to cut a promo. This is actually a theme of the night. We actually saw this twice, where like a match was interrupted so that a promo can take place. Theory tries to go up to Ciampa. Ciampa's like, not tonight, dude. Today's not the night. And he goes on and talks a little bit more about the Johnny situation, how he probably should have seen it coming because he was so locked in on trying to get Goldie back that he wasn't paying attention to his surroundings. He basically said that he can't get his life back. He can't get the title back with Johnny Gargano in the picture. He kind of has basically said he has to take out Johnny Gargano for him to be champion. And Austin Theory tried to attack Ciampa and he gets laid out. And then as Ciampa's leaving, he's about to get jumped by Theory again, and he gets laid out and gets destroyed. Basically, Ciampa just punked out Theory, and I laughed out.
First thing, same thing like we said with Devlin. Austin Theory's a fucking phenomenal wrestler. Excellent on the mic, excellent in the ring. What was the purpose of this with him?
I mean,
that's my first thing.
Like later on in the night, hold up, before you finish. Later on in the night, we did have it confirmed that this was to set up Austin Theory versus Ciampa next week. So that's what this did, but I don't know why it had to be Theory. I mean, go ahead and make your point.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like the match, okay, you setting up the match, I understand that, but again, totally like you said, bitched him out, like made him look like a straight bitch. And then my same dead horse I'm beating every week. This is shit heels do. Faces do not interrupt matches before they get started and attack the wrestler that's in the ring waiting for his match to start. Mm-hmm. That is not face shit. That is shit heels do. NXT, heels do that stuff, not your face. Chill out.
Right. I mean, Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. So we have a little bit of a dynamic going, new dynamic here. Obviously, we have Ciampa versus Gargano starting up again at Takeover. Gargano cost Ciampa the match. I didn't think that's where it was gonna go when Gargano took the belt from Ciampa. I think it was more of a like, you don't win the title this way type of thing. But then he smacks Ciampa and costs him the match. So we're getting Gargano versus Ciampa again, but this time the roles are reversed. Ciampa's the face going into this, and Gargano's the heel. How do you feel about Gargano Ciampa three?
I know the match is going to be fucking fire. Let's just first get that out the way. Like, I'm in no way bashing what I think the in-ring performance is going to be. They're going to tear that shit up like facts. Just big facts. They're going to tear that shit up. But my thing is, those matches and that series of shit that they had going on was so great and like had you at a certain point is because you knew Johnny was the underdog. You knew he's the white meat baby face that you have to look after. He's the underdog. And Ciampa was doing some evil, fucked up, you know what I'm saying, destructive ass shit to him every fucking chance he got.
Right.
Do you really see Gargano holding up that end as the heel? And do you see Ciampa, which we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, holding up his end as a face? I don't see it happen.
So I think what really made it work the first time was the sympathetic babyface in Johnny Gargano had his best friend turn his back on him, and Ciampa just being a sadistic heel, just a la of Randy Orton. I think he's the best sadistic heel right next to Randy Orton. He's up there as a sadistic heel.
Right.
I think that's where they work the best. The one thing is I'm intrigued to see what the Johnny Gargano heel turn motive was, why he turned on Ciampa, why did he cost him the match, why are we going down this route? Is this just NXT? They just decided let's just do Ciampa Gargano again because we didn't get to do it. One thing that someone mentioned was that last year at Takeover New Orleans, they had their match stolen from them because I think it was Ciampa that got injured, right?
Yeah.
So are they doing it so they can get their WrestleMania Takeover moment weekend, or are they doing it because they actually want to go somewhere along the line? I want to see how this dynamic is going to play out.
I think it's a little bit of all of that. Like, I think that, especially now that they're on national TV, I think that they want the audience to see that because people talk about all the time how great it was. But now that they're actually on national TV, I think it's a little bit of that. And I think it's a little bit of them not getting robbed of their WrestleMania moment or whatever you want to say. I think it's a little bit of all of that together. But my thing is, like, I just don't see either one of them holding up their end in the reverse roles.
I mean, we'll see. I'm going to go into it with an open mind and see what's up. I wasn't really feeling the Johnny Gargano heel turn the first time around. I love that but it could be a similar thing to Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins when the Shield turned, where Ciampa plays the Ambrose pissed off friend role, and he's out here to like kick Gargano's ass, and Gargano's out here playing the chicken shit heel that Seth Rollins was playing back then. So we'll see what's up, man. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, going into it with open mind. I'm intrigued to see what the motive and explanation is for the Gargano heel turn, but we'll find out soon. After that, we had a Finn Balor vignette, basically just hyping him up, saying that he's going to be at Full Sail next week. So we're going to see Finn Balor next week. Next up, we had a tag match. We had a random pairing of Raul Mendoza, who I love. I like the guy. Obviously, I'm Mexican. I'm Latino. I support all my Latinos. I watched him in the Cruiserweight Classic, the first one, and I've liked him ever since. I've just slowly followed the guy. And he teamed up with Joaquin Wilde, another guy, the former DJZ. I loved him because I used to watch him on Impact. He used to wrestle here in Chicago a lot, and then he actually permanently made Chicago his new home, his residency or whatever. And now when he comes out, he's billed as from Chicago, Illinois. I'm not with that whole alien get up he's got going on. He needs a different headpiece. But other than that, the guy's a great wrestler, and they faced off a tag team, which is one of your favorites, one that you're very fond of, in the Grizzled Young Vets. Overall, what you thought of the match, and what you think about the Vets being on NXT some more?
I'm here for it. I mean, like you said, you know, like I hate to sound like the NXT UK guy because I don't even really watch it, but I know who they are. Like, I have my favorites there and there. I mean, I told you guys. I mean, Gibson on the mic may be cold, and Gargano maybe the only people better than him or close to him on that mic when he really gets going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then you see how they are as a tag team, and then surprisingly, Mendoza and DJZ or whatever the hell his name is, like they put on a pretty damn good match. I mean, Raul is fired. Like I love him. Like to be honest, like I figured he'd have a bigger role than what Fabian Aichner. I mean, it took them both a few years, and Aichner finally got in with Imperium. But me personally, I thought that he was going to be the breakout out of the losers, I guess, the loser bracket of the cruiserweight tournament. I mean, they clearly love him too. He's everywhere, so maybe he's something.
A nice little fun fact is that for a minute there, Raul Mendoza was actually a tag team with Humberto Carrillo, who is now on Raw. Yeah. So between those two, I thought Raul Mendoza was going to be the breakout between those two guys, and that he jump started to 205. Obviously, now Raul Mendoza is more on 205 Live. I don't watch the show as often because there's not enough time in the day. But there has been reports that Hijo del Fantasma, or I don't remember what his actual name is, but he's an actual Mexican luchador. He was wrestling, and he's been signed with NXT, and he was in Lucha Underground. So he's gonna be in NXT going forward, and he was teaming up with Raul Mendoza for a bit. So maybe that's how you rejuvenate the tag team division, having Mendoza and the new guy coming in, and that's where you capitalize on Mendoza and have him rise up slowly.
I'm here for it. Like I said, I like him a lot. DJZ, I mean, it kind of is what it is with him. Like, I don't see him being more than like a jobber pretty much for the most part. Like, I just don't see him moving up like the rest of the guys in the breakout tournament, to be honest. But, I mean, if this is what you got to do to get him going, I mean, I ain't going to hate on the guy, you know what I'm saying?
I think they're trying to find something for him because NXT, for as good as it's been, sometimes it doesn't know what to do with certain people. Like for the longest, Candice LeRae wasn't doing anything. Keith Lee wasn't doing anything, and I wouldn't surprise me like they wouldn't know what to do with a Joaquin Wilde or aka DJZ. So
this is all AEW's fault, man.
Probably.
No, it really is. I mean, they signed up a bunch of people so they wouldn't go there, but then they got them there, and they're like, "Shit, what do we do with them?"
Exactly. So, I mean, for one, I love the guy personally, and I hope him nothing but success. I hope he makes it out there. We'll see what he does. We'll see what they do with NXT. I think the guy, overall, the match I thought was really good. It was just a showcase match for the Grizzled Young Veterans, who I feel is going to be in NXT for a while, because the way Zach Gibson phrased that promo was, because I know his whole thing is like Liverpool's #1, but he said the world's #1. So it looks like they're here to stay. I think they're the next.
Then they had the next promo. It was well, not a promo. The next vignette was the Forgotten Sons, tell them that they accepted or that they're taking notice or whatever. So that's probably gonna be the next feud for them, which I'm here for that. I ain't mad at that.
I mean, I'm a little confused because obviously Grizzled Young Vets are heels through and through, and the Forgotten Sons are heel whether they like it or not. Even if they try to turn them babyface, nobody cares about Forgotten Sons. They're at Full Sail. So it's an interesting dynamic to have heel versus heels, but we'll see how it happens. I'm just glad that we're going to get more Grizzled Young Vets. I think they're exactly what NXT needs right now. Their tag team division is looking a little thin.
I'm with you. Like you said, those are my guys. I'm here for it.
All right. So, I mean, speaking of tag teams, we had another tag match after this, man. We had Broserweights coming out, and they were going to take on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. One thing I want to note is that the entrance was solid. I liked what they did is they started off with Pete Dunne's theme song. He came out, and then they played Matt Riddle's theme song. He came out and was doing Matt Riddle things. Obviously, they went and celebrated with the crowd. They came into the ring. They cut their nice little promo. I'm a big fan of either you give them a brand new theme song, either use one of the two theme songs, or if you're gonna do an intro cut, fine, but have it separate entrances, just like Sasha, she would come out and then Bayley would, or stuff like that. That's what you need to do. And I don't like the whole. I'm just really glad that it wasn't Pete Dunne's music, then Matt Riddle, then Pete Dunne, then Matt Riddle, then Pete Dunne, then Matt Riddle. I would have hated that, but they started with Pete Dunne, let him get his like intense bruiserweight entrance, and then Matt Riddle comes in, and then you have the dynamic between the two as they go down the ring. So I like that. Their promo was really funny. The one thing that I really liked was that he's like, oh, we turned up, we partied after our win at Takeover. Two things. It's like Matt's like, what happened to our cart? And Pete's like, well, you got it impounded again.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny. It was very good. Their comedic timing has been incredible. Their chemistry has been growing and growing as the weeks go on. And I loved Matt Riddle's line where he's like, oh, I partied hard, man. Pete Dunne, he's a machine. And then he said the third stallion, the trophy, well, he partied too hard and he didn't pass the wellness. He got a wellness violation and he got a 30-day suspension. And he's like, yeah, we have those. So I thought it was funny. It made a nice little excuse as to why they're not bringing the trophy anymore and why they're not bringing the cart anymore. And that's all I ask for in my wrestling is for, like, tell me why this is no longer happening. That's all.
Shit that happened that you've been shoving down our throats for 4 weeks. Acknowledge when something changes. Like it's real simple. Just like, hey, we broke the trophy. All right, cool. That's why you don't got that giant 7-foot fucking trophy carrying it around.
Exactly. So it made sense as to like just little things, and that's all it takes in wrestling. Like, if you and I get it, like if I suddenly start wearing stop wearing my glasses, and you're like, hey, what happened? Oh, I got contacts. Just something simple. Just like, you don't even need to go into a big elaborate reason as to why something's not happening anymore.
The internet's fault. It's motherfuckers like us, for real. We're too smart for our own good. We're always complaining and breaking shit down, so then they automatically assume, like, oh, they'll get this. Like, no, we're done. We're watching this shit because we're still kids in our hearts. We want to tell the whole damn story. Give me an explanation why something happens, or when you change directions on a feud. Like, I don't care if you just drop a feud. Right. Just give me a reason why. Like, you know what? He's not worth my time. I'm moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, something simple like that.
I get you, bro. Yeah, he sucks. Fucking. Let's move on to something else. Like,
okay. That's actually a nice little segue. Obviously, Broserweights won. It was a pretty simple match. I love Lorcan and Birch, and I think they're a solid team. But I feel like they're just kind of like that team that helps you put on a good match to establish another team. I don't think they'll ever be tag team champions. I don't think they'll ever hold any title, whether they're a team or singles or whatever. Unfortunately,
if they do, it'll be some transition shit where they win on a Wednesday night show and then lose it a couple weeks later at Takeover or something like that.
Yeah, that's the only way I see it. Obviously, Broserweights won. It was a solid match. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Very good.
Match they've had together so far, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. So, like you were saying, moving on, dropping feuds. Obviously, they're not going to be dropping Dijakovic versus Keith Lee, because that looks like it might be carrying over. Keith Lee, he comes out. Looks like he's gonna cut a promo. He gets interrupted by Kona Reeves. Kona Reeves goes and tries to get a mic, but before he can even say anything, he gets pounced into the corner by Keith Lee. All Keith Lee says, start the match, ring the bell. Match starts, basically just squashes poor Kona Reeves and just makes him look like a total chump. Dijakovic, once we get back from the replay, Dijakovic's in the ring and he's like, I'm not over it. He they built up Dijakovic versus Keith Lee at Takeover as the final showing. But Dijakovic is like that crazy ex-girlfriend that just won't leave you alone because he's coming back for Keith Lee.
And I mean, we already had this discussion where I'm kind of over it. I'm definitely over it now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can't deny the matches are fucking fire. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. And then going back to what we're saying over, I think Kona Reeves would be a good addition with Finn. Because the kid, I mean, he has he's decent on the mic. He's probably one of the biggest people on the damn roster, believe it or not. I mean, if you put him with somebody to get that rub and be that kind of bad luck Fale, just shut your mouth, kick some ass, keep it moving. I wouldn't mind seeing him in that role. You know what I'm saying? And they clearly, I don't want to say they give a shit on, but they clearly like him because he's literally a stepping stone for every big star that starts on NXT. He's literally the first person, especially since Cassius Ohno's been in UK. Kona Reeves has been everybody's first damn match. So they clearly give somewhat of a give a shit about him.
I mean, me personally, I don't really care about Kona Reeves, but I can see where you're going with it. maybe there's something to it. We'll find out if they do anything bigger with Kona Reeves, but it looks like Keith Lee for the immediate future is gonna still have Dijakovic to deal with, because Dijakovic was basically given the whole, if this doesn't happen I win, oh if this a lot of butterfly effect stuff, and Keith Lee was like, look man, there's a lot of ifs, but at the end of the day I won that match, I got that title. But one thing I will say is that whether it's here at in Full Sail or Takeover Portland or wherever we wrestle, they always say the same thing. He quiets down, gives the fans a chance to chant. They do the fight forever chant, and that's what Keith Lee led off, ended his promo on. It's like, if you can talk Mr. Regal into it, we can indeed fight forever. Because he was like basically saying like, look man, I beat you, I have nothing to prove against you, but I don't back away from a fight, I don't back down for no fight, I'm no bitch. So if you want to fight me, even though I don't have to, I'll fight you just because.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I wish it had been somebody else or something else, but I mean, we're here where we're at. So
yeah, I mean, do you think it's just a case where they just don't know what they're gonna do with Keith Lee yet, or they're just biding their time because they have a plan for Keith Lee, but they can't go into that plan just yet because there's something else that needs to wrap up, or maybe someone's injured, or maybe we don't know. Maybe this match happens and he gets I don't know, maybe like a Finn Balor interrupts their match and we don't get a conclusion, and then we transition to Balor versus Keith Lee or something along those lines,
I was thinking that, but then Finn said, wait do you see what I got planned next week on Raw.
No, I don't think he said Raw. I think he said
I mean on NXT, like, where do you see my next chess move on?
Okay.
Next,
yeah.
On NXT, like, if there's going with Djokovic, I don't. What's Finn coming there for? Like, what's his next step? I guess.
I mean, maybe they could do a thing. I'm sorry. Go, man, go.
No, I was saying, I guess you could do both things and maybe make it a 3-way or something. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, one thing that I was gonna say is that maybe they could do a multi-person thing. I mean, they were hyping up the ladder match where the initial champion Adam Cole was crowned at Takeover New Orleans. I want to say like 2 years ago, and maybe they could do a ladder match. Maybe it just like do a Keith Lee defends the title in the ladder match. You can throw in, a Leo Rush, a Swerve, a Kushida, Roderick Strong, a Finn Balor, a Dijakovic, and you can have another banger match. Maybe that's where they're going. Maybe they're setting up multiple challengers for Keith Lee. So we don't know.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll see what happens with that. It looks like they're probably gonna like do at least one more match with that. Obviously, you're like, I've seen this as much as I want to see, and it's getting there for me. It's like I like Dijakovic and I like Keith Lee, but like I want to see Keith Lee do some other stuff too. So,
and like, I think a lot of it too. Like, I wouldn't have minded if they didn't do that huge ass package with fucking Mark Henry on the fucking before the match at Takeover. Like, you literally put a stamp on it and put a nail in that coffin yourself. You did that. You did not have to do that if you knew that it was going to keep going. Like,
well, also
you boxed yourself into that.
You bring up a good point, because if you don't do that, then are you as upset or like just like confused as to why it's continuing? Like,
yeah.
Like
yeah.
At that point,
like,
you can yeah. Okay, so looks like we're gonna have that rematch down the line, and we had another rematch tonight on NXT. We had Kaden Carter taking on Chelsea Green. It was a rematch. Kaden Carter got her first win at the expense of Chelsea Green. What you think of this match? What was your overall take?
It was all right. I mean, Chelsea for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big girl. Like, she can move a little bit too. I mean, I just need to see more of it, I guess.
Okay. I mean, for me, the big takeaway from this match didn't even involve any of the two girls in the match. It had to do with Bianca, once again, another babyface, interrupting the match, and she's like, not like, she did the Kanye West line where it's like, you're doing great, and I'm gonna let you finish, but Charlotte, you don't even go here. And she started talking about Charlotte. She basically challenged Charlotte into a match. We don't know when it's gonna happen. They're probably gonna do it maybe at Chamber. Maybe they'll do it at a regular NXT, and maybe that's how you get Bianca involved in this feud, because it doesn't look like Bianca is just going to be brushed away to the side. She might be added to this title match, and it turns into a triple threat with Rhea and Charlotte. Maybe they do a thing like, okay, well, Charlotte, if I beat you, then I get added to the match.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like that's probably where they're heading is the triple threat, and let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, Bianca Belair definitely outshined Rhea Ripley at Takeover in my eyes. I mean, even in a loss, she was the bigger starter. Like they fucked up. They picked the wrong horse in this race. They definitely should have, especially after giving her all that momentum at Royal Rumble and all that. They should have went with Bianca and rode this out. I mean,
Right.
if you don't add the match, I think you're missing the boat completely.
Oh, for sure. I think this is the second time it's happened to them, because it felt like they were really gonna go hard with Ciampa versus Cole, but they kind of had like to do like a little detour and included Keith Lee because he got over so much as his Survivor Series, and then at the Rumble, where you kind of have to like give Keith Lee something. And I felt like everyone wanted him to be NXT champion more than Cole, and I feel like that's where we're at right now with Bianca. Everybody's like, look, I like Rhea, she's cool, but Bianca deserves to have this, just like Kanye, a very Kanye moment, which is like, I'm sorry, Rhea, I'm gonna let you finish, but Bianca deserves to be in that title match and deserves to be champion more than you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there for it. I mean, like I said, it's not a knock against Rhea. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm hating on Rhea, like, because I think she's dope. I mean, she's 23 anyway, so like she has plenty of time. But
Yeah.
at this point, it's time for them to put the rocket on Bianca. Like they've been bullshitting and slow grinding her for 2 or 3 years. I mean, she showed now that when she's in the ring with Charlotte, there's no gap.
Yeah.
Like you don't think that, like, why the hell is she in here with Charlotte? Or you don't think automatically, oh, Charlotte's gonna fuck her up.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she's in there with them, like you like, damn, this just about to be fire. Like,
yeah.
And if anybody disagrees with that, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what wrestling you're watching, because he's a star. Like,
no, for
flat
sure.
out fucking star.
No, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, my big thing there is that I feel like Bianca might end up getting added to this match. I don't think she's going to end up winning the NXT title. I think Rhea's going to retain, because I feel like Bianca has just kind of like superseded that NXT Women's title, and it's going to be bumped up to like a Raw, like coming up after Mania, because she's that big. She's like, and Raw and SmackDown both right now need depth in their women's division. Just look at that Hell in a Cell match. A lot of people are complaining as to why Sarah Logan and Natalia were included when you have other talents that should be in that match. Obviously,
Right.
you included Bianca Belair, you add a lot of issues, you fix a lot of issues in that match. So, especially if rumors are to be believed that supposedly Becky's going to take a little bit of time off after WrestleMania. So again, they could use some big names, and Raw after WrestleManias usually have some returns or some debuts, and that would be the perfect way to move Bianca away from NXT and give her that rub that she deserves on the main roster, because it's so much easier on Raw or SmackDown to get that women's title, have a little run with it, and then drop it, as opposed to NXT. NXT likes to do their like lengthy reigns there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so going back to the Kaden Carter Chelsea Green match, nothing too much happened. After Bianca leaves, Chelsea tries to roll up Kaden Carter and get the cheap win, just like she lost to Kaden Carter a couple weeks back. The action spills to the outside. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chelsea Green gets tossed in by Kaden Carter, and as Kaden Carter goes into the ring, she gets tripped by Robert Stone. Allows Chelsea Green to hit the Imperator, which, one thing I gotta say is, like, she didn't hit it how she was supposed to. I think because she had her, and I feel like she was supposed to like turn her, but I guess like she got tangled up in like Kaden's hair, that she just decided, you know what, I don't want to like fuck her hair up. Let me just drop her down. And it's like, I wrote it down. It's like, it looked bad. It didn't look like a finisher. It just looked like she just grabbed her and just slammed down with her, you know. But
I don't want to sound sexist and all that shit, but I hate when they have that long ass crazy ass hair in there, bro. And because it's not even so much that it's the long crazy hair, it's the fact that most people don't grab it and do anything with it. Like, that's the whole point. Grab her hair and fucking toss her. Like Bianca's saying, like, I don't know why more people just don't snatch her ass down by that long ass ponytail or something, bro. Like,
I've seen some people use it to their advantage to try to use it as a weapon, like Alexa trying to use it as a way to eliminate Bianca. Or I think at one point, Bianca was about to eliminate Charlotte Flair in the Rumble, and Charlotte held onto her hair, which is a total bitch move, but she did it. So I do understand, like, if it's kind of like, again, not to be a nerd, but if you go back to Dragon Ball, like Goku had like a tail when he was a kid, and motherfuckers would go ahead and grab his tail as a weakness. If you're in a fight, you know, and I see that you got some sort of weakness, something I can exploit, I'm gonna take advantage of it, especially if you're a heel like Chelsea Green is supposed to be.
Exactly.
So, I mean, overall, I mean, nothing too much. It's just a win for Chelsea Green here. We'll see what happens with her and the Robert Stone brand going forward. But let's move on to our main event. Obviously, we already talked about Ciampa in theory. That's going to happen next week. Finn's going to return. He's going to be live at Full Sail next week. But we finally got Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. 1v1 it was supposed to be, and for the most part, it was. One thing that I wanted to point out, like early on, I wasn't feeling Dream's gear. I didn't really like it initially until he took it off and revealed the Marina gear that he had towards the end. And
nigga was wrestling in a romper. Let's just say it. He was wrestling in a romper.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing I just didn't really freaking like about Dream. I mean, Dream, you do you, dude. Wear whatever you want to wear. It's not my place to it's not affecting me personally. I wasn't a fan of it. I don't, because it's supposed to be a very intense feud, right? It's 5 months in the making. Roderick Strong and Undisputed Era took out Velveteen Dream, almost cost him his career. And then at the other end, Velveteen Dream's been attacking or targeting Roddy's family. You would think there'd be a little bit more intensity into it. And if you out here looking like the background to this Toy Story logo, how am I supposed to really get invested in this very intense feud, you know?
I thought them was dick and balls on this shit. Pause. I literally thought that was. I was like, bro, this motherfucker. They just let this dude do anything. Now this nigga wrestling with dick and balls on his shit. I didn't realize it was the eyes on his glasses.
Yeah, I didn't realize that at all. I was trying to figure out. It looked like a blue sky with clouds. I wasn't sure what the fuck the whole point was. So, yeah. I mean, I guess it could have worked if he had like a different coloring. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it to start off. Obviously, after he took it off,
I'm not a fan of it, but I get it. It's part of his character, and it is like it's supposed to make you feel some type of way. Like, man, is this dude gay or what? You know what I'm saying? So I get that. Like, it's meant to rub a certain section of people.
Oh yeah, you know? He does it on purpose to like obviously you saw some dumb folk over there just getting riled up over Nyla Rose winning the title. So obviously Dream knows that he can get some people riled up, and I guess that's the whole point. I didn't knew what he was doing with it, but you know, again, to each his own. One thing that I will say about Dream is that he did look like he had a little bit of ring rust. There were a couple sequences where they just didn't hit their mark or they collided with each other. Early on, the match did feel a little clumsy. As the match did go on, it picked up towards the end. I really liked it. I loved towards the end of the match. It was really, really good. And once he took off like the romp him or whatever it's called, and he revealed the actual Velveteen gear we're known and accustomed to, I think it really picked up. Obviously, Dream looked like he had the match won. He was going to go for the Purple Rainmaker, and the rest of Undisputed Era comes out. He goes and does the dive onto them, takes them out. Take us to the end of into this match. And did you think that was a botch? Because towards the ending sequence, it was Dream that hits the Dream Valley Driver. He gets the 1, 2, 3. After the 3, Roderick Strong does the kick out motion. I don't know if the match was supposed to end right there, or maybe Roderick Strong was supposed to win, or maybe that was the plan. That I don't know what you thought of that. That was a weird finish to me.
It was weird to me too. I don't really know what to think. Because they went over too, so I was thinking maybe that has something to do with it. Mm-hmm. But it kind of threw me off. I was just kind of sitting there what the fuck is this? I didn't get it. I figured it would be a quick win, and then Undisputed Era would come in and try and fuck him up. But I don't know. Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, what is that? How this was supposed to go? Was it supposed to be a disqualification and not him getting the quick pin? But
right.
I mean,
if it was supposed to end in a disqualification, it was probably going to be similar to how the end of the match happened, because Dream won and he celebrated for a bit, then got jumped by Undisputed Era, and he got laid out by the rest of the UE. And if it was supposed to end in a DQ, that was probably how it was going to go.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
So
exactly, especially with him jumping up like that and everything, looking like he kicked out, but not. Like, I was thinking that, like, maybe it was supposed to be a DQ finish or whatever. But I mean, it is what it is. Me personally, this match should have been on Takeover or something, probably. Like, I feel like this is a wasted match here at this time. And I mean, I know they had to have something going with AEW stat card, but I feel like it was rushed, so it still didn't have much heat or much reason for you to kind of be excited with it. Like, till you said, till he took the romper off. No homo.
Yeah, I mean, once he took it off and stuff, that's when like the intensity really picked up, because now Roddy's more mad that he has his wife spray painted on his crotch. So I liked it. I thought it was good towards the end. It did feel a little sloppy, but maybe that's why they did it, because there was going to be a little bit of ring rust with Dream, and maybe they wanted to make sure get the ring rust off. We'll continue to build this feud and have a bigger blow off match with Roddy at a takeover, which is going to be Takeover Tampa. So maybe they do it then. Also, one thing I wanted to pose to you and see what you thought about this. So obviously the prophecy from the Undisputed Era when they were all draped in gold was fulfilled at the expense of Velveteen Dream, because they took him out. Roddy Strong was able to go ahead and capture the title once it was vacated in the triple threat. And then now Velveteen comes back. It kind of makes sense for Velveteen to be the one to finally be the last guy to take the title off of Cole and be the guy that takes it, that like completely destroys the Undisputed Era's like championship reigns, because it started off with Strong losing to Keith Lee, then Broserweights lose at Takeover. The last domino to fall is Adam Cole, and it makes sense given that like I said, it was at the Dream's expense that they all won gold. It makes sense that it's at his hands that they lose their last piece of gold.
Well, we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago. I told you that I always thought that was the end game anyway before he got hurt, that was what they were shooting for, either a title versus title or something. I thought that that's where they were pushing. I mean, because if you remember, I mean, Dream was on a fucking hot streak before he got hurt. He was one of the hottest in the business at that time. To me personally, I thought that's where they were going before he got hurt. And then, like you said, Keith Lee caught fire and all that. So I think Keith Lee's extension fucked up a lot of stuff and put a lot of shit, either change plans or put stuff on the back burner because of him coming up out of nowhere. But I wouldn't be mad if that was where they were going, and that's what I've always thought was the end game for it anyway. I thought that Roddy was just kind of like the jumping point for him to get to Cole, and especially now that they haven't set anything up for Cole as of now, and they're all going at Dream. So I mean, to me, this could be your perfect way of getting there.
Oh, and I think it'd be perfect. I think Velveteen, like, as much as I think he's Showtime, he's a big-time player, he could be on Raw and SmackDown and doesn't skip a beat and fits right in. I think, given his age, given that he's still so young, I kind of want to see him stay in NXT for at least 3 years and really cement himself as, like, an NXT cornerstone, kind of like what Ray, Eddie, Edge, Kurt Angle were for SmackDown back in the Ruthless Aggression era. I want him to be one of the big pillars of NXT, and he deserves to have that NXT title, and I think no better place to do it than take over Tampa Bay, and that's, you have a couple weeks to set that up. You can go, maybe that's why they also did Roger Strong versus Velveteen Dream at a regular NXT, because the end game is going to be Dream versus Cole, and they're like, okay, let's get Roddy Strong out of the way and have him move on to Adam Cole, like slowly move up the ladder.
Well, just remember that I called that happening.
Yeah, I mean,
check the tape. If it does happen, I called it.
All right, for sure, man. I mean, I'm with it. I'm down with it. I mean, and that's how we ended up the show. And I think this is a good time to end up our show as well. Overall, is there any last takes or any last things you want to add to the show before we sign off?
It was a good, solid show. I mean, it didn't progress any of the major storylines, but it's kind of like they have a track record now of going back and forth. To 1 week is the big storylines, 1 week it's the secondary ones and going back and forth. So I kind of dig that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a solid show. I mean, but they just didn't have a chance with the show that fucking AEW put on tonight.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it, but I've been hearing some
I
good
haven't
stuff.
watched it yet either.
So yeah, I mean, we'll still watch. We're gonna watch AEW. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I usually that's what I do. Like I'll try to watch it. But we'll see, man. I mean, not a bad show. If you enjoyed it, let us know down below. Let us know in the comment section what you enjoyed about it the most. If you didn't, if you thought it was a little bit more of a like a filler show or a standard show, let us know what you would like to see next week in the comment section below. Also, like this video, subscribe on YouTube if you are listening. If you're listening to it on other podcasting sites, we're on almost all of them, but if you're on Apple Music, give it a 5-star rating and give it a review to help the algorithm make sure we get some exposure. And on Twitter, if you want to talk some more wrestling, follow the show at SmackRawPod. You can find me at SESVents. Arn, I'll let you plug your stuff.
Yeah, you can hit me up at Mr.8984 on Twitter or Aaron Real Petty on Twitter or Facebook, and then also hit the Mean Jelly Bean YouTube page and check us out. We got a video dropping tonight actually. So yeah, definitely hit Twitter, talk some shit on wrestling. I mean, that's what we live for.
All right, sounds good. I didn't do a good job because we had some technical issues of last week of adding the link to your channel and to the video, but I promise that that would be one of the first things I do. If you're in the description, it will have a link to the Mean Jelly Bean YouTube channel. Go ahead, check it out. I always plug HJs and sandwiches, or how is it?
Sandwiches and HJs.
Sandwiches and HJs. That's it's still to this day. It's still my favorite like video you guys have done. And stay tuned for next week for the next NXT recap show. Hopefully we have our PWX Tag Team Champion Jay Thunder in the house, and he'll join us. But with that being said, this has been the Smack Raw Podcast, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
I'll let you guys.